Welcome everyone to the Goblins live show. We've got an awesome show lined up for you today where we are going to discuss certain events that have happened over our years of riding, your mum and dad's years of riding, and going to look back on these experiences and kind of I don't know what's the word, like I suppose I don't know what would you call it, like refreshing, reminiscing, that's the word I'm looking for. Reminisce in those experiences and kind of discuss what we've learnt from them, I suppose. But are you ready, wifey?
I'm ready. Let's get scared.
Let's roll the intro.
What I found.
How's it going, wifey?
I'm tired.
So, whereas last week I had the week from hell at work, the wifey has had the week from hell at work this week. So,
but I know for a fact my week from hell is the next 3 weeks as well.
Yeah, but at least you'll be working from home though, right?
Not always, no.
No? Oh, right, because you've had to go to the office this week quite a lot, but...
Twice again next week, possibly 3 times.
So it always happens with me. Whenever I have to work from the office, it's always a very difficult day. Always. If I have to go into the office to work, it's usually a very stressful day because something's gone really wrong.
I've only worked from home once this week, and it's such a stark comparison to before COVID, where I would work once a month from home, maybe the rest times in the office, and now I'm like, oh, I've got to be presentable and I've got to go into the office, and
you got to put in a lot more effort.
People looked at me like, you look glamorous, and I was like, I look like myself. Why are you so surprised? And I realised I hit my hair is up here, I have no makeup on, I look like I've just fallen out of a grave. Yeah. So
Yeah, kind of sucks, but.
Haven't seen you this week. Hi.
No. Hi.
How are you?
Hi. Yeah, doing all right. Yeah. So we've been pretty hard at work last couple of weeks, and we have a few announcements we'd like to make.
Don't get excited.
The dog is trying to pitch in a bit. So we are, from next week, we are going to try a new release schedule. So we are going to have Mondays and Fridays will be exactly the same. Thursdays will be exactly the same. So we'll have the usual release on Mondays, the live show on Thursdays, and the usual release on Fridays. But we also want to add another release on Wednesdays. Now, I mean, at the moment, Wednesdays... What?
Nothing. Carry on.
She makes me nervous waving stuff around like she's going to hit me with it.
If it falls out my hand, I'm going to put that down, actually.
On Wednesdays we want to release a new type of video where we are going to react to certain things. So we are going to react to motorcycle stuff. I don't know. Like compilation videos, motorcycle compilation videos, things like that. I mean, if there are any suggestions that you guys have, or if there's something that you have watched recently where you think, the Goblins have got to see this, then shoot it over to us either on Instagram or send us an email.
Tag us on the video.
Yeah, or tag us on the video. That's absolutely fine as well. And maybe we'll react to that one as well.
But it's completely different setup, isn't it? Like we're not in here. It's completely different.
It's going to be more of a relaxed environment, more chill, and hopefully a bit more comedic. I think hopefully
it's more off the cuff, isn't it?
Yeah, off the cuff, and just a bit more natural, totally unscripted. So which
might not be ideal for me because sometimes I don't think, I just talk. And you can sometimes, like, if we need to, I don't know, filter it or like stop and do it again, it's fine. But we can't do that with the sort of video we're doing, is it? So.
Well, I mean, we're going to be editing them, so you know we can
You got to
we can kind of limit certain things that we'll do, but the idea is that we don't. The idea is that we kind of just let loose and
you got to leave all the crazy in.
Exactly, yeah, just be a bit mad. So yeah, on Wednesdays from next week, there's going to be an additional release. We're just going to see how it goes for the time being. It's an extra step. It's extra work that we're having to put in, which over the last couple of weeks, we haven't really had much time for. So it's kind of, put a question mark on it. But we're going to try it, see how it goes, see if you guys like it. If it's content that you enjoy, then we'll continue doing it.
It's a beta test.
Yeah, we're basically testing it, and that's the thing. As being on YouTube or being on any kind of social media, we have to experiment with new things. So just to give you guys something different, or to expand to a wider audience, I suppose. So we do have some other ideas that I would like to pursue, but I don't know if this channel is the right place to do it. I filmed a few videos in the past of certain political issues, things that go into really deep subjects that are kind of designed to spark discussion, designed to make people aware of certain issues, or shed new light or new perspectives on certain issues that we have, and kind of combine that with the motovlogging. So it's kind of we talk about a serious topic, doing something that is enjoyable, that's relaxing, that is,
It's like political ASMR.
I suppose so. But I don't know if I'm gonna go ahead with any of that. So I've recorded a few videos. If you guys want to see that stuff, then let me know in the comments or in the chat, and I'll get them edited and I'll get them released. Just again to kind of experiment with the kind of content that we're broadening our horizons, I suppose, in a way.
And then we'll look to go out together, won't we? And we'll have a discussion.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is a discussion that we've had between the wife and myself, where if you are going to do some more deep topics that are kind of real world problems that we have, whether that is the war in Ukraine, whether that is
Roe v. Wade.
What's that?
Roe v. Wade, the abortion thing. That's
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. And this the whole thing in Texas as well, isn't it, with abortion
and all that.
So things like that, really deep topics that we can really sink our teeth into and kind of shed our own perspective on the events. They're not going to be evidence based or anything like that. They're purely going to be just off the cuff. Kind of reactionary to certain events that are going on at the moment.
And I think the important thing is to stress is where we feel appropriate to give opinions, we're not trying to force our opinions on people.
No.
It's very much just how we feel and what we think.
It's not even that. A lot of the times, whenever I'll say something, it's not actually because that's my opinion. A lot of the time, it's because I am trying to come at things from different perspectives. So I'm trying to think of one argument for this side of the fence and trying to think of another argument for this other side of the fence. I don't like sitting on the fence. I like to give perspectives from all sorts of different angles. I don't like to be it kind of is, kind of isn't. I don't like to be like that. I want to be a bit more decisive. But yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things that I've been thinking about for a long time, just to, again, diversify the content that we make. But
also it kind of... It lets people know a bit more about us.
Yeah.
People don't know much about us.
Yeah, on a
really.
more personal level, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, I think they want to know. We're not going to tell them. But we should our names.
Well, we'll try not to anyway.
Yeah.
It might come out at some point.
At some point it might. But it just gives people an idea of a bit more about what we're about.
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of spread positive messages.
Yeah.
Rather than... I don't know. There's just so much hate in the world at the moment. I mean, there always has been a load of hate.
But it seems proper prominent right now, doesn't it?
Yeah, especially with
proper prominent.
Well, with the world tension as it is at the moment as well. Things are kind of all up in the air. So, we want to kind of spread a little bit more, a little bit more positivity, a little bit more optimism, and maybe along the way help a few people understand certain issues or make them aware of certain issues. If you hadn't been watching the news recently or something like that, and there was a big issue that had come up recently, and you didn't know about it, well, you'd know through us. So,
opinion time here.
Yeah.
Watching the news really pisses me off. I get really depressed because it's, it's someone in a suit and they're going, this is what is going on. And I'm like, you're literally like a robot. There's no emotion. It's just these are the facts. And I think that's where we would be like, this is what's happening. Here's the title of what's happening.
Yeah.
But let's actually put some personality into and sort of humanize it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we're not going to always have experience in what we're talking about, but we're always going to be able to have a discussion out the back of it.
Yeah.
I don't watch the news. I hate watching the news.
I like watching the news.
I get the news from you. You give me the Cliff
the
Notes version.
Yeah. So anyway, that's an idea that we've been toying with. But also on Tuesdays as well, this is something we'd also like to start doing, is releasing clips of the live show.
Yes.
So we have, obviously, on Thursdays, we have the whole live show. It goes live, obviously. It's a live stream.
Really?
But then on Tuesdays, we'd also like to release certain snippets of the live show that are either entertaining or they're important or they're informative. Certain parts of the show that are, probably provide the most value to a viewer. And kind of put them into nice small chunks of people that can't watch the live show, that can't make the live show, people like in the United States, for example, that can't watch the show live. Well, at least they'll be able to get a gist of what the show was about from the clips. So it's going to be releases 5 days a week from next week. Hopefully it's sustainable. I don't know. We'll see. But that's the direction we'd like to go in. And it's always been a dream of mine to be able to release content 5 days a week. So
we'll see what happens.
Fingers crossed it goes okay.
Yeah.
Also, we have a... what's going on?
You've got one really long hair out your beard now. Driving me nuts.
We also have a new addition to the crew.
It's an alien.
It looks like a walkie-talkie, doesn't it? So I've been messing around with this recently. No, it's not kind of speed camera jammer or something like that. I wish it was. No, this is a 360-degree camera. And... yeah, I've been playing around with it for the past few days. I only got this on Wednesday, and as soon as I got it, I had to go out and film with it. I had to shoot something with it. So our release tomorrow is going to debut this camera for the first time. Are you all right there, wifey? You seem to be a bit, all over the shop.
You do you, boo.
So, yeah, this kind of camera hopefully will make the vlogging a bit more... I don't know. Hopefully, it will give viewers more to look at.
It's a really interesting way of doing it, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
I've not seen people use this before on any videos I watch. I mean,
there have been a couple of motorcycle channels that I've seen that have either experimented with 360 cameras or they use one actively, but. We intend to use this 360 camera a lot for our vlogging videos. So, yeah, fingers crossed that'll be a nice addition to the content as well. Make it a bit more dynamic, make it a bit more viewer-friendly, I suppose. But
makes it just a bit more interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, because you can add different angles and... I mean, the release tomorrow is just within the first couple of minutes of the video, I've got a little... compilation of the basically me messing around with the camera. I've got some clamps for it, some clamp mounts that we can put on the bikes to get some really, really wicked looking shots, and you'll see a little bit of that tomorrow, and hopefully we can do more. But yeah, hopefully this will pay off. This investment will pay off. Fingers crossed. But yeah, so there you go. That's another little bit of news. Anything else? I mean, I've been rambling on for a little while. Sorry about this, guys. About all the all the things that we've got going on, all the plans that we've got.
I thought we need an agenda. We show it up like PowerPoint at the beginning. That's what we're going to cover.
Yeah. I mean, if there's nothing else, we can crack on with the main topic of today's video, I suppose. Dopestar Gaming, how you doing, mate? Hello. 125 guy. Hope you guys are all well. Yeah, hope you're doing well as well, mate. Thank you for joining us. 125 guy, got a few clips on my channel if you want to check them out, a couple of close calls, and my crash if you want to react to those. Okay, that'll be really interesting. Yeah, absolutely, I'll definitely check those out. Thank you ever so much for that. Dope Star Gaming, more vids could never be a bad thing, especially when they're easier to make. P.S. Don't worry about language, it's all about the authenticity.
On that point, I absolutely love swearing. It's one of my most favourite pastimes. If you really want to like feel your emotions, a good old swear word is the way to do it. I don't know how much I can swear on YouTube. Like, can I swear on the live show? Like, what can I do?
It's a bit of a grey area because you don't know how the regulators will react. So you find a lot of YouTubers will swear regularly on their channels, and but usually the topics that they're talking about involve kind of very heavily regulated content guidelines. So they might get limited ads or stuff like that. So it'll probably hurt their revenue. Yeah.
Bollocks.
Yeah, you're fine.
There we go. I was sitting on it. I was like, I want to say one.
No, I'm sure it's fine. But yeah,
we'll have to have a set list of like words I'm allowed to say.
Well, the thing is, I want to try and keep the content as family friendly as possible, really. So yeah, it's just one of those things. Let's have a look here. What else have you guys been up to? Dope Style Gaming. I think we're all gonna go check out that 125 guys video. Absolutely. Yeah. Dope Style Gaming at Goblin Rise. I don't think anyone would be against you and wifey giving opinions, seeing as that as well as education and bants is what you're all about. Yeah, I mean, it's as long as we're spreading awareness to certain things and giving people new perspectives on certain things, and that's the idea. But I don't know. We'll see about that. 125 guy, one I watch uses Insta360 and the footage is good. Yeah, this is an Insta360 One X2. I'm going to do a review on this in the near future once I've had enough experience with it and once I've got to know it a bit better. So if there are any pros and cons to using these kinds of cameras, then I'll be sure to let you guys know, because they are very versatile, but they do have issues. I mean, I experienced an issue yesterday whilst editing certain footage with this, which I'll leave that for another day. But yeah, so there are certain pros and cons to using those. But yeah, okay, wifey. So close calls.
Yeah.
So a couple of years ago, it might have been a couple of years ago now, maybe a bit longer ago, I was working for a company. It was an agricultural company, and part of my job, I mean, I work in IT, and part of my job there was to travel to the different farms that they had.
Oh, this story.
and provide IT support, basically, for certain farms. I'd have my headquarters that I'd work in every day, but there'd be certain occasions where I need to travel to another farm to troubleshoot some certain systems and what have you. So there's one day where I was going, so I went to the headquarters office, I did my morning in the headquarters office, but then there was an urgent call to go out to one of these other farms and try and fix a problem that they had. At the time, I have a watch, a smartwatch, and it has this functionality where it can send out SOS messages, and it can send out GPS tracking data, and it can do all sorts of things. And I had this set up because just in case I'm ever in trouble or what have you, and I can't get my phone out to send someone a message or call someone, I can just press a button on my watch, or press it 3 or 4 times, I think it is, something like that, and the watch will automatically send out an SOS signal.
It's definitely more than once you have to press it.
Yeah.
In case you press it by accident.
You have to be very deliberate with it. So I wear my watch almost every day whenever I'm traveling, and for whatever reason, this day that I decided to go to work, I took off the protective shield that's on it. So my watch usually has a bit like this protective case that I've got on this Insta360, a little bit like that, where it just protects the watch and it helps it last a little bit longer. But this day I decided to take it off. I can't remember why, but I took it off.
Was it because it was hitting your... Was it a bit uncomfortable?
No,
is that why?
No, I don't think so. I think I just wanted to run the watch without the case one day. So I don't know. I honestly can't remember. But anyway, so I was traveling in between these offices or in between these farms, and it's a fair distance away, maybe half hour, 45 minutes between the farms, and I had loads and loads of missed calls. But because it was an urgent job that I was at, I couldn't pick up my phone. I had to go and fix the issue. And so I spent about an hour and a half trying to fix this issue. In the meantime, I'm getting missed calls left, right, and centre from my dad, from my mum.
Me.
Did you try calling me?
I tried to call you once, and I texted you a couple of times. Yeah. That sounds like I'm really heartless. So basically, what had happened was...
Well, let me explain the whole story first.
And then I'll see where I come in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, I was getting calls, texts left, right, and centre from loved ones. And there's only a set number of people that I sent out that I had set up for these SOS messages. I couldn't answer my phone because I was working on this urgent thing. And then, about an hour and a half, 2 hours go by, and I decide to have a look at my phone and see what all the fuss is about. And it's just calls from my dad, from my mum, from wifey, from all sorts of people that I've got set up as the contacts in the case of an emergency. And so I decided to call them back. I can't remember who I called back first. I think it was my dad. I think I called him back first because he was the one that was constantly calling me every 5 minutes. And so I call him, and he's in his car and he's driving, and he goes, hello, and then I say, Dad, what's going on? And he just breaks down crying.
So let me pause you there.
Hang on. He was crying like a baby down the phone. He couldn't say anything. There were no words. He couldn't say anything. He was so upset.
Before you go too far, I want to rewind to what happened when your dad called me for the first time.
Well, so anyway, just before you do, so basically what happened is that my watch obviously has sent out these SOS messages without me knowing. I didn't know, and on my watch itself, it didn't say that it sent out SOS messages or anything like that, but for whatever reason, it got caught on my bracelets or something on my jacket, and it sent out these messages. So
I'm going to sound really heartless when I give my bit out, but I wasn't concerned too badly, because I was like, I'm sure everything's okay, and I don't know if I was in denial, that I didn't want to think something was wrong. So basically, I'm working, and at the time I was doing programming, so I was in code, and I was working, and I get this because you call me, and you text me as well. That's what your watch SOS does, but it only texts your parents. I get the call and I get the text, so I get the whole shebang. So I'm working, I answer it because it's obviously called me, and I can't hear. I can hear you riding, and I'm like, he's just done it by accident, like, what a plonker, it's fine, hang up. Text comes through and I'm thinking, I'm sure it's nothing. Put my phone down, go back to what I'm doing. Your dad calls me. Oh, have you had these SOS? Yes, I have. I answered the phone because I got a phone call, I can hear him riding. I think he's fine, like, let's just give him some time, he's probably going from A to B, it'll be alright. Put my phone down, don't think anything more of it. Half an hour later, I get another phone call from your dad. Have you been able to get hold of him? No, I haven't. I'm sure it's okay. Like, he's at work. I'm sure if they hadn't got to where he wanted to be, someone would contact me, some emergency contact. I will find out something isn't right. Okay, put my phone back down, and I'm thinking, right, I need to get this bloody bit of code finished because it's doing my nut in. So I start again. The phone rings. Almost said my name then. I haven't. Have you heard from him? No. Where does he work? Well, he works in 2 places. It could be one. I don't know where he is right now.
No, I worked in multiple sites.
Yeah. And then your dad went, right, I'm just going to get on. I'm just going to go towards that way. So I was like, right, okay. Ironically, you'd taken me to where you worked the week before this happened. Yeah. So I knew roughly the route. And I was like, I got in your car for some bizarre reason. Went in your car, not mine. Don't know why.
Thanks, yeah, we're using my fuel. Thanks.
You're the one that was missing. You deserved this. So I basically got in the car, was driving. I was 10 minutes from your office when Plonker calls me and I pull over and I say, are you okay? Because I've had your dad on the phone and he's like proper panicking. He's made me stressed out. I've had to call my boss and say, my boyfriend is missing. I need to go find him.
Yeah, we weren't married at that point.
No, and he was like, this is very dramatic. I said, yeah, I'm sure he's fine. I'll be back in half an hour and he'll be all right. So anyway, I go out. I'm 10 minutes from your office and you call me and you're like, where are you? And I was like, where the bloody hell are you?
Yeah.
And then you kind of told me what happened, so I turned around, went home and finished my work.
Yeah.
For
I mean,
what
the thing is
stress.
that the text message that got sent out as well, it had GPS coordinates.
Oh,
but
yeah.
they're supposed to be live coordinates.
And they stopped, and your dad thought you were in a bush.
The coordinates stopped kind of like off the main road and into a farm, basically.
But,
I can't even remember where the GPS thought I was, but I think it went off close to my head office where I would normally work. So I must have literally just left the office, was on my way out of the town when my watch decided to send out the SOS messages.
And the problem is, when someone starts panicking and they're talking to someone else, he was panicking talking to me, and what was it he was saying? Oh, I said, yeah, I know the GPS has stopped. Obviously, if he's on the side of the road, I'll find him. And then your dad turned around and went, what if he's in a bush? And I was like, well, the bike's green, the bush is green, I've got no chance. As a joke, or did I get told off for that? Oh, it's not funny, and I'm like, well, I'm sure he's fine.
I didn't know you said that.
Well, I try and lighten the mood, and I didn't want to tell you after all the stress
but
you've been through.
you don't do that
And
to
I
my
was
dad.
like,
When my dad gets in this mindset, he goes into like disaster recovery mode.
Proper like.
So he takes it very seriously.
And I think your mum in the background was going, I'm sure he's fine. I'm sure he's fine. Like, your mum was so cool and collected about it. So yeah, that's. And what have you done now? You put your case back on your watch, haven't you?
Yeah. I keep the case on now just in case. But I mean, this kind of story follows on a little bit from Monday's video where we're talking about how families get affected by us riding motorcycles, and it's one of those things where when something like that happens, they know you're riding your motorcycle, they automatically think the worst has happened, and so it kind of just highlights the issue. For families, sometimes you have to reassure them. You have to say, look, it's absolutely fine. I'm fine. Literally, nothing happened. Nothing happened. My watch just sent out a freak SOS message out to, my certain contacts that I had. Yeah. So it's just one of those situations where there was nothing I could do. I had a job to do. I couldn't contact anyone.
You didn't even know anything was going on.
No, but no one was sending me messages. Everyone was calling me. No one was sending me messages.
Did I not try and text you as well? Oh.
No. Because when I checked my phone, it was just a load of missed calls. I didn't have any messages. If someone had sent me a text message saying, look, we think you're dead, you make sure you message us to let us know you're all right, that would have been a bit cooler. But the fact that basically the whole family mobilised and travelled to try and find where I would be in a bush.
But don't you feel loved?
Oh yeah, of course. Well, it's a wonderful feeling, but you kind of get the impression, oh come on, it's a bit over the top. And like you were saying, because my watch called you, you could hear the bike moving. It probably it was underneath my jacket, of course, but you would have heard the wind blushing.
That's the thing.
Blushing.
Also shy.
Brushing past me. You probably would have heard me changing gears or something like that.
If the bike was on the side, it would have been a very different sound to how it was if you were moving.
Yeah. Well, you wouldn't have heard the wind. You would have heard like nothing. So if you could hear the wind blowing, then I was almost certainly riding.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the wifey diagnosed that it was probably just a mistake, probably just by accident. But my dad just, like completely, because he's ex-military. He used to be a commando in the signals. Logistics. Sorry, in logistics. And all of these instincts just kicked in, and he was very decisive, and he wanted to make sure that everything was all right.
Also, on the flip side, being ex-police, probably seeing the aftermath of these things, mile a minute going, oh my gosh, that's my firstborn.
You make a really good point, because he has seen horrific accidents, motorcyclists, drivers. He's seen all sorts of stuff. And I imagine that's exactly what he was thinking. He probably had all this stuff going through his mind about what the hell had happened.
Do you know what, though? I don't know what I would have done if something had happened to you. Like, I don't know. I honestly don't know how I would cope.
Who knows?
Without you here.
Who knows? But, I mean...
It's a scary thought.
Yeah, it is a scary thought. But that's what families have to go through, so...
That's moving my mum and dad.
Yeah. So from here then, so... That was a story where nothing happened. Thankfully, everything was absolutely fine. It was just a freak thing that sent everyone into a panic. But what close calls have we actually had?
Should we talk about my parents for a minute?
Yeah, let's talk about your mum and dad.
Okay. I've swallowed a fly. So this was probably, oh my goodness, how long ago is this? 3 years? 3 or 4 years ago now, taking into consideration COVID. And just to set the scene, it's the day after my birthday. I'm not going to tell you how old I am. But it's the day after. It's the day after my birthday. I was off that week. We weren't doing anything, so I think we'd been to the Harry Potter Studios the day before, and we were really tired, and you were playing video games, and I was sitting on the bed with the dog, and my phone goes. Now, my parents were in France, so they used to like to do quite a lot of bike tours, and so their plan was to go. They were going from France into...
Well, they go to Germany.
Germany and then into Italy.
Yeah.
And they were doing like a bit of a tour of Europe.
I didn't know they were going to Italy. I thought it was just France and Germany.
No, I think they were doing Italy.
Okay.
I can't remember. This was a long time ago now. So anyway, I'm sitting there and my dad calls. Now, it's not unusual when my parents are abroad in Europe to call me, because I then keep my grandma updated and let her know how things are going there. So I was like, oh, hi Dad, is everything okay? And the first thing he said to me was, don't panic. And at that point, you know when you get that really warm feeling in your face and you think something's not right? And my dad said, we've had an accident. Now, my dad's calling me, not my mum. So automatically I'm going, oh my God, like my mum's dead. First thought, my mum is dead.
Hang on, you're starting to cry.
Because
Stop
the thought of it's really stressful.
Stop it.
Oh, so,
They're fine.
I know they are, but it's the panic and the stress that it brought back.
Yeah.
So anyway.
I love that. She starts crying about her mum, but when it's me that's in the side of a bush, she doesn't care. I'm joking. Sorry, carry on, wifey. Sorry.
Take this. Over your mouth. So yeah. So anyway. So my dad said, everything's okay, don't panic. And I said, Dad, you're worrying me, what's happened? He said, we've had an accident. And I said, right. And he said, we've come off the bike. Mum is being taken to hospital, she's having an operation. I'll call you when we know more. He then hangs up. He tells me my brothers know, but not to tell my grandma because she'll just freak. And I was like, right, okay. He hangs up and I come and tell you, don't I? And I'm blubbering and I can't breathe. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, my mum's going to die. And oh my God, what am I going to do? And I have a panic attack. And you're like, for God's sake, woman, calm down. So anyway.
Well, they're fine. So
I knew my dad was fine. But anyway, so basically they call me from the hospital. My dad gets to the hospital. And what happened was... it'd been raining the night before, so they got to France late, went to their hotel, stayed in the hotel. Next morning they went to leave, and this is the first day of their holiday, bearing in mind. So they get on their bike and they come up to a roundabout. It's a cobbled roundabout. As my dad starts to go, he's going about 5 miles an hour. The bike slips out from underneath him.
Does he know?
We have the footage, by the way, if you want to see it.
Okay, maybe that's something we can bring onto the channel at some point. Is that footage? But do you know what caused it?
He just said he thinks it was the slippery cobbles that caused the bike to go, because my dad wasn't going very fast. He wasn't trying to accelerate out the roundabout or anything. So what happened was the bike went. Now they wear these really fluorescent jackets, which are airbag jackets, and they like plug into the bike. So if you're thrown from force at force off the bike, they inflate. So my mum was thrown at force, it inflated, but she broke her leg, didn't she? I think the bike landed on her or something like that. And then my dad wasn't thrown at force enough that he cracked his ribs. But so that's kind of the injury side of it.
But his airbag, you said his airbag jacket didn't go off.
It didn't go off.
Yeah.
No, because he wasn't thrown as force.
Yeah.
So anyway, so my mum kind of like gets up. Well, she sits up and she tries to get up and she goes, oh crap, I can't move. And there's people around trying to help them because people can be quite nice. So anyway, my dad doesn't realise at this moment that he's in any sort of pain. And they call an ambulance and my mum gets...
Does he pick up the bike?
I'm getting to that.
Okay.
So the bike is on the side, and he's just trying to sort my mum out. Okay, so they get an ambulance, and my mum.
Sorry. I mean, like, did he pick up the bike to get your mum out, or were they able to slide your mum out?
They managed to slide her
out.
out.
Oh, okay. Sorry. No, I just wanted to make sure I got it right. That's all.
So anyway, they get my mum in an ambulance. My dad my dad picks the bike up, gets back on the bike, and goes to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
He checks, he sees there's a bit of damage to the bike, but you don't know what damage at this point. And he realises, I can't get her back to England on the bike because she's on crutches now.
And it's a BMW.
And that. So...
Love you, BMW guys. Love you.
If he ever watches it, you're going to go... Anyway, so my mum has to go into surgery, and she has to have these metal plates put in the side of her leg, both sides, to help the bone or something. So my dad, in one night, goes back on the bike to home, turns around, and goes back to France in the car.
Because this was in Calais, wasn't it?
They
literally just got through the tunnel, wasn't it?
No, this was they were their first day of their holiday. They'd been there the night before. I think they stayed the night before.
Oh, I see.
This was actual before they were...
Okay. I literally thought they just got off the Channel Tunnel and it happened.
I think my mum would be so annoyed.
Well, I was annoyed for them.
Yeah, so anyway, so that happens. And they get my mum back after I think she has to stay there a week in France. Doesn't speak much French, but she had a seagull for company most of the time. And my dad was able to actually pay to stay with my mum in the hospital because she was on her own otherwise. Dad gets home, takes the bike to BMW. All that's happened is that the bung thingy is dented and there's a bit of crack in the fairing.
Yeah, so most BMW owners have like a frame around the engine and certain vital parts of the bike, so that takes most of the damage. That's basically what happened, and there was a crack in a piece of the fairing as well.
But one thing, this is the second accident my mum and dad have had together. The other one we'll go into later on. It's not as dramatic. But the first accident took my mum 20 years back on the bike.
Mm-hmm.
This accident, she was back on within 2-3 weeks having her cast taken off.
Did she ever say why it took her so long to get back on the motorcycle after the first incident?
So they got married, and this was their honeymoon. They had their accident in the first accident they had.
Had she ever been on a motorcycle before being with your dad? Do you know?
I don't know. I can't be sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what it was that they shortly had my eldest brother after that. So my mum's mind was very much, if we're both out and something happens, that's both the parents gone. And then by the time she got back on the bike, I mean, I was...
Yeah, well, all the kids were adults.
Late teens.
So,
yeah, so it was fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's...
Yeah.
So, but there is... Dad keeps saying to me, do you want to see the footage? And I keep saying, no, thank you. But he said it's a bit... He said it was just slow motion. 1 minute he was up, and then he was just kind of... He said it's like an out-of-body experience. You're kind of seeing it happen.
I'm sure it's kind of anticlimactic, really, because it's only a slow speed drop. Basically, the bike dropped without moving almost.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I bet it wasn't that exciting or what have you.
Yeah, but I mean, I called them every day.
They are, getting on a bit. They're in their 60s, so yeah, it won't take much to break bones at their age.
I'll let my mum know you said that.
It's meant in a nice way. Come on.
She's so deficient in calcium.
It's meant in a nice way.
I'm glad, and this sounds awful, I'm glad it happened in France, not when they're in New Zealand. Because I would feel properly hopeless in New Zealand. Because when my dad called, I was like, I'm going to come over. I was like, I need to figure out how to get them. My dad was like, why? Nothing. You can't do anything. I'm here. It's all okay. And I was like, all right.
But basically, I mean, by the time you'd actually got in contact with them, everything had been sorted out anyway.
Well,
your mum was already in the hospital.
But by the time my dad called me, but like I say, so just to put point to paper, whatever the phrase is, he got the bike to the hospital, got home, got his car, got my mum then back after a week home, Then he saw a doctor and found out he had cracked ribs.
And he picked up the bike as well
With cracked ribs. And he had absolutely no idea he had cracked ribs.
Yeah.
That
for me is the most impressive thing, is having broken ribs and being able to pick up a big, heavy 1250 GS.
I think in my dad's mind at that point was, I need to get to my wife. I need to make sure that, you know, because my mum was obviously in a lot of pain and they had to dope her up. So anything she was saying probably didn't make much sense.
Yeah.
So my dad had to be there to make the decisions and all that sort of stuff. And to be fair, his insurance company were amazing. And he got so much cover, like, and he was able to claim more, because you have to pay for crutches and stuff and the care in France, and they were able to get all that back. So yeah,
it's pretty standard practice for European travel.
I knew that you were okay because I'd heard on your watch you were fine and you were local, so that was fine. And because we'd been through this with my parents already, I was like, I have to be level-headed. I have to be like, this is what we do.
Well, this is exactly what Dope Style Gaming is saying. There's no point panicking in these situations. It doesn't make things any better.
Whereas the first time I spoke to my dad, they'd had the accident. My mum was in hospital having an operation. There was no context whether she'd hit her head or she'd sprained her toe.
Yeah.
I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
And that's where... And I think that's why I get a little bit emotional about it, because at that point it was so stressful, and I think I'm going to get emotional when we watch the footage because I've never seen that footage before. Yeah,
well, we'll have a look. I mean, if your dad's happy for us to show the people, then we'll react to it together.
I don't know if he's watched it. He might want to react with us. He might want to see our reaction.
Yeah, probably.
So you're going to meet my dad.
Yeah, at some point we'll have him on the show.
Yeah.
Fidelity, good to see you, mate. How you doing? There's something I want to try. So we'll go through your mum and dad's first crash experience in a moment. But YouTube recently has added this new button to insert an ad into live streams. So I'm just going to give it a go. If it's okay with you lot, I'm just going to give it a go and just see what happens.
Beta test number 1.
Is that all right?
Oh.
Yeah.
I feel
like I should do like the typical ITV thing of have like a cliffhanger and then be like, you'll find out after the break. Like that kind of thing. I don't know.
I'm just trying to think what cliffhanger we can give.
Well, let's just try this. I mean, I don't know exactly how it's going to work. I don't know if it's going to cut the live stream for a second. I don't know if we're going to see it. I'm just going to give it a go. Is that all right?
Wish us luck.
Yeah. Well, I think we'll see you in a minute.
We might be back.
It might just show an advert on the screen. We might still be live. I literally have got no idea how this is going to work, but let's give it a go. Here we go. Well, I've pressed the button.
Can you still see us? Are we there? Is anybody out there?
I don't know. It seems to... It did something, but... No, apparently we're still live. So, interesting. Okay.
If you can let us know what happened, that would be ideal.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm monitoring it here. You're monitoring it. Oh, you have got an ad.
No, I've paused it.
Oh, you've paused the stream.
Hold on. Skip.
But did you pause it on the ad though?
No, I haven't played. I paused it before I even started.
Well, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, we still see you.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, just a little experiment there. We'll see if that does anything whatsoever.
It's one of those buttons developers put in that does nothing.
Well, no, it's supposed to allow people.
Mad Dog said it worked.
Yeah.
What an ad break! Amazing.
I was going to say it's supposed to allow the presenters to plan ad breaks when they want them to, and I just wanted to give it a go. So hopefully that wasn't too long for you guys.
Dope Style Gaming, I just love that response. What an ad break.
What an ad break.
Amazing.
Next time we'll script it in and we'll have a cliffhanger and then we'll insert an ad for you. Oh, that'll suck.
Coronation Street, eat your heart out.
That'll suck. But yeah, thank you for bearing with us on that one, guys and gals. Okay, right, so wifey, let's talk about your mum and dad's first crash experience.
Yes.
And then, I don't know, if we've got time, I'll go over a few of the ones that I've had over the years.
And we can talk about the near miss on me the other day where you got out and...
Yeah.
Well, that was a cliffhanger we should have used. Where you got out and you told the driver off, back in a mo.
That's one I had in mind, yeah. But, okay, right.
Darn it.
I mean, shall we talk about that one first? Because it separates it.
Yeah,
and
I'm
we'll talk
using
about
a
your
lot
mum and dad
of
after.
Rhett and Link's swears. I love it. Yeah, you go.
All right. So the wifey and I were giving. We were out on a ride together, and bless her, she was struggling. You know, she was making a few mistakes and what have you, and I wasn't very happy. And she a little bit before then, she had drifted in between lanes on a roundabout. And I got really angry because there's cars on either side of us, and if you drift into other lanes on a spiral roundabout, it's going to end really badly. So anyways, I was angry at that point already. As we got off the roundabout, it was kind of dusky, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was late in the day.
The sun, was it behind us?
No, it was in front.
Was it? I can't remember.
Because
the sun was in a really awkward position. And basically, as we came off this roundabout, we were on a dual carriageway. And a car was overtaking us. I was in my usual spot where I was on lane 3, so kind of close to
the line.
As close to the line as I could possibly get. And this car overtook us, but they didn't overtake both of us. They overtook me. And I don't know if it's because they didn't see you, but they cut right across in front of where wifey was riding, and she... Again, another mistake. She was in lane 1, where she probably should have been at least in lane 2, because then it would have given the driver a little bit... The driver would have seen you.
Yeah.
If you were over that side of the road a bit more, on where I was in the lane, it would have seen you. And things like that stop drivers from doing stupid things. And basically, that's exactly what happened. So they overtook me, and they started coming in to our lane, and the wifey was in front of me, and they cut in front of the wifey, and I lost it.
Well,
I absolutely
that
lost.
Far away from hitting me.
About it was probably about a meter.
Can't do this.
It was probably about a meter in length, a yard, whatever.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I got really, I snapped. I had the red mist descend, and I was like, I have to talk to this person because they almost killed my wife. Right? I'm sure you can imagine how angry I was at that point, even though I was already angry before then. And so we got to some traffic lights a little bit further up the road, and I didn't pull up beside them. I went in front of them. I got in front of them, put the bike on the kickstand, and marched to the window. And at that point, I was really angry. Well, as I overtook them again. So I overtook the wifey and I overtook them again because they were now in our lane. So I overtook them again, and I didn't give them any bad hand gestures. I started doing this and pointing at the wifey. I started doing this, and I was saying, you know, what the hell are you doing, that kind of thing. In my helmet, they couldn't obviously hear me. But yeah, a little bit further up. So I got in front of them, put the bike on the kickstand, and I went to the window. And it was at that point is when I snapped out of it. I calmed down, and I was like, look, mate, you cut my wife up earlier. You were really close to her as you came into the lane. Even at that point, he didn't even know what I was talking about. He didn't know what I was talking about. I could see it in his eyes. He was like, what did I do? To be fair, this guy was an older gentleman, maybe middle-aged, I don't know, but he clearly didn't know that you were in the lane.
No.
He didn't see you. I had to point, and then he looked in his mirror, and I think it clicked that you were there.
The sun was right in his eyes.
No excuse. No excuse. You were in front of him.
Yeah, I was.
As he was overtaking me, you were in front of him. So he had no excuse not to see you. Fine, dusky sun, I don't care. You don't cut into a lane until it's open, until you know it's free. It's just basic roadcraft. But anyway, so I was chatting to this guy, and I was trying to explain to him that he cut in front of my wife, and she's right there. I was pointing to her. And I don't know. He either clicked or he just wanted me to piss off. I don't know. But basically, he said, "I'm really sorry." And I said, "Look, that's absolutely fine. Okay, you made a mistake. I accept your apology." And I got back on my bike. Now, okay, this is another stupid thing. So I got my bike was in front of his car, and it was on the kickstand. But the traffic lights had changed, and so so everyone was starting to move. He moved on the inside of me. He got past me on the inside of the bike. Bearing in mind, I was like across the. I was on the inside lane. You know, probably taking up about half a meter. I don't know how wide the ZH2 is, but I mean, on the kickstand, it's probably about a meter in width. and he forced his way on. I was like, oh my god,
You've
moron.
got the footage because I didn't really see
Right,
what
so
happened.
So I'll have to check the footage, but I did have my GoPro running at the time. But afterwards, after I got back on my bike and we started riding again, I noticed that my GoPro had fallen down.
No, you did show me because you showed me the mistake I made. Because we had after we calmed, when we got down, or when we got home and I'd calmed down from crying because I was unhappy, then we sat down and we talked through what I did, didn't we?
Yeah.
And then you showed me, because you said to me, did you see how close they were? And I said, no, I didn't. I was probably not focusing as much as I should. Yeah, I was at fault. I know I'm at fault. Like, I get that. We've had that conversation at length.
Yeah.
Like, I know that I'm not a perfect rider. I'm not a very good rider at all, really.
Well, you're learning. You're learning to ride still.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing.
But, you know, we sat and we talked, and when you look at it, it is a little bit scary, actually, how close that guy got to me. And you know what? The thought popped into my head the other day. You know when you lie there at night and you can't sleep and your head starts doing that weird thing where you start thinking of scenarios and how they could have gone? I had a thought about what would have happened if he actually hit me.
What if you went from lane 1, where you were, as he was going back into the inside lane, you started drifting over into lane 2, or God forbid, lane 3, and he knocked you off the bike? That was a very real possibility. And he wasn't overtaking quickly. He was probably doing maybe 5 miles an hour faster than we were.
He was even slowing down at the time because the lights were changing to red.
No.
Was that not?
This is well before the traffic
See, I don't even
lights
remember
were.
it.
So, yeah, but I don't know. But yeah, typical kind of... It's something that happens all the time, to bikers at least anyway, where we just are not visible, we are not seen, which is why we have to put ourselves in such dominant positions on the road to give us the best possible chance of being seen. I mean, this is one of those things that I'm trying to train wifey to do, is to make sure she's in the right position on the road, because it saves you a load of stress like that. You've had it before as well, where you've been in lane 1 and someone's overtaken you around a blind bend before. I was stuck behind on a roundabout and I watched the whole bloody thing happen. I was like that, you know, red mist descending again, because I was going to swear. Things like that happen. Things like that happening is totally not on. Totally not on. It doesn't matter if someone is slower than you are. You do not overtake someone on a blind frigging bend. Yeah? And it's things like that happen all the time to learner riders, inexperienced riders, lane positioning, how important that is. But yeah, so I mean, there's a couple of close calls, a couple of occasions there. But yeah, absolutely ridiculous scenario.
And the worst thing is, it knocks your confidence to ride again.
Yeah, things like that really do, because drivers do not care. Or they simply are just in a world of their own. You know, they're in their little boxes, and everything that happens around them is what happens around them. They don't care. It doesn't impact them. I don't know. But maybe I just have a different attitude to everybody else. Who knows? But I have the exact same attitude when I'm driving my car as I do on my motorcycle. I'm always aware of my surroundings. I'm always checking my mirrors all the time.
Someone cut me up on the way home.
So
I was in my car coming home from a long day at work, and I was almost not hyper focused, but I was like, right, I'm tired. I need to be really focused on what I'm doing now, because I don't want to call you and be like, crash my car, or you get even worse call, your wife's in hospital, your wife's dead. Yeah. So I'm driving, and there's 3 lanes, and towards I might not explain this very well, but towards this end of the road, the 2 right-hand lanes merge into 1, don't they? So you end up with 3 lanes into 2.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, 3 lanes into 2, yeah.
And I'm driving, and the sun's in my eye, so I pull the visor down so I can see the road, and this car starts moving into my lane, gets my lane, and indicates to be in my lane. So I have to, because they're probably that far from hitting the front of my car, I have to move into the next lane. And I drove fast, and I was really trying to be a lady, really trying to be like a stand-up lady, so I just turned my music up really, really loud and just glared at them. But I was like, look before you move lanes.
It's really funny, because all the things that we're describing right now are all the things that we are seeing in these videos that we're reacting to, these motorcycle compilation videos. The exact same stuff happens. It's not just, it doesn't just happen to us, happens to all riders. All riders of any kind, this kind of stuff happens to.
It's really funny though. Sorry, let's just talk about cars for a second. So I learned to drive, as you probably all know, fairly late. And I'm quite a timid person. You may not realise that from like the way I present myself, I guess. So when I'm driving, if someone cuts me up and he's with me, he beeps my horn. He'll lean over and beep my horn.
I'll reach over, yeah.
What the hell are you doing? And the windows are open, and I'm like, turn the music up.
Yeah.
But so.
Yeah. So I mean, well, there you go. But right, do you want to give us? We've got a few more minutes. Just give us the last story of your mother and father, because they seem to be very accident prone.
I'm the only
Is
person,
that a low blow?
touch wood, in my family, out of me, my brothers and my parents, who haven't crashed a car and or a bike yet.
Yeah. There's plenty of time for that, yeah.
I haven't, yeah. So, I mean, well, my brother's accidents are for another time, because they're not riders, they're just cages, to use our slang.
Yay, cages. We're learning stuff.
We are. So, this is, gosh, they are
Was this
60s.
in the 1980s when this happened?
Must be, yeah. So they are older generation. And on their honeymoon, they went to Scotland. And I only know the bare bones of this. But basically what happens, I think they were riding at night and they went over oil and the bike slipped and they came off the bike.
Do you know how fast they were going? Did your
That's
dad
literally
ever say?
all I know.
Okay.
You'll have to ask Father for his take on it. But that's the first accident they had. And then I think... Now, I don't...
I mean, that was back in the day when motorcycle tyres were not that much thicker than bicycle tyres.
That would have been his...
That's 750 Suzuki, wasn't it?
That was...
GSX 750?
That was the first GSX that he had. So when my mum and dad met, my dad had a bike. They then sold the bike to buy a house. And then my mum surprised my dad by buying him another bike. And that's the bike they had the accident on.
Yeah.
But did you ever see... You saw his last GSX, didn't you?
I saw it, yeah.
But he had to stop riding that because he's got arthritis in his wrists. And it was... He said if it went, he couldn't have picked it up.
But as soon as he met me, though... And he saw that I was riding my bikes everywhere. I think that stirred something in him, because it was only after that is when he started looking at buying a new motorcycle. And then after he got a motorcycle, he got another one. Then he got another one.
He had the orange one, sold that. No, did he get the orange and the white one?
No.
Got the orange one.
Was, I can't remember. Was it a BMW?
Something.
Was it 800 something? I can't remember what it was. But yeah, he had that one first. I can't remember why you said he didn't like it, but then he swapped that out for the 1250.
Yeah, he got a bigger bike. My mum, she can make friends anywhere. So whenever they go into a dealership, so Dad had the orange bike. I'm moved, so I don't know what it was, a BMW something. When my dad's like, oh, let's have a look. I want to change this bike. Let's have a look at another one.
I'm still trying to convince him to get a Japanese bike, by the way.
Well, I had a chat with him about that the weekend.
Or a Triumph, you know.
No, we're working on it slowly. They went into the dealership, and my dad was like, "Oh, that's a nice bike." My mum was over talking to the salesman, making a deal with him before my dad even sat on it. Like, that's the sort of person she is. So they got the blue bike, and then my dad used to. I don't know if you guys heard of Serve. So it's a volunteer outfit, I guess, who deliver blood and breast milk to hospitals. So my dad did that, but depending where it is that you live and the county that you serve, it depends on whether you get to use their bikes or their car or what have you.
Or you have to use your own bike, which in your dad's case... Sorry.
Where my dad was living at the time, we lived down south originally, so I don't sound like a lot of people from around here.
All right, my lover.
Exactly. My dad had to use his own bike, and he didn't want to use his nice BMW, so he got the white BMW instead. But the funny thing is, when they used to do collections, they used to wear like the high vis, like a bit like the police would wear, and they see his white bike and they come speeding down the road, and then they see a collection of people in high vis and these bikes and slow right down. Thinking that it was a bunch of motorcycle cops or whatever. So, but yeah, that's kind of all for me.
Yeah, so I mean, your dad's had quite a lot of experience on bikes. And it's quite sad when you hear these stories of oil slicks and what have you, especially on older bikes that didn't have traction control or any kind of electronic stability features.
For the longest time, I thought it was black ice that he slid on. He's like, no, it's oil.
Yeah.
So I got that wrong. But yeah, he slipped on oil in the road.
Yeah. You do see oil spills around, but they've never affected me. I mean, obviously, if you do see oil on the ground, then you ride around it. You don't ride over it.
But I think it was in the dark, so I don't think they could see it.
More than likely, yeah. Especially with 1980s headlamps on motorcycles as well. They weren't exactly the best either. So, who knows?
So,
but
yeah.
Yeah. Let's have a look. See what you guys have been saying in the chat. Okay, so I'm glad that the ad break worked. Do you want the dog? 125 guy. When I had my crash, I rang my missus and told her that I was involved in an accident. Her first words were, "It was you. Whose fault was it? Lol." Yeah. See, when I read that, the first thing I thought, the first word I read it was, "It's your fault." The missus says, "Was it your fault?" Mad Dog 2866. Good to see you, mate. How you doing? 125 go classic SMDSY. Sorry, mate, didn't see you. That's referring to the close call that you had on your bike.
I'd like to tell you a positive story about an encounter with a motorbike when I was in the car. Do you remember?
Okay. Yeah, go for it.
So I'm a girl. I like shopping. So I went and did some shopping in Tesco's, and I was in your car. Having a bit of fun, wasn't I, in your car? And I overtake this guy on a Triumph, and so I roll my window down and I look, and he sees me looking. So I nod at him just out of habit, and he pulls a bit forward and he goes, I said, "Oh, I like your bike," and he went, "Oh yeah, thank you." And I said, "Oh, my husband and I ride," and he said. He went, first thing he said was, "I wish my wife was as pretty as you." Compliment. Feel a bit sorry for her, though, that he said that. But then at the lights, we started having this really nice chat about, like, your bikes and stuff. And that's quite a nice thing to do as well, is to kind of have that.
But most bikers are like that, though. Most bikers are more than happy to have a chat with you, especially if there's long queues of traffic and stuff like that. You look nice and pretty. I'm sure he's more than happy to chat to you.
But it was just a nice encounter with someone to wind down the window and have a chat with someone. He was asking he was like, "What bikes do you ride?" So I was like, "I'm on 125." But I was explaining your bikes, and that was that's like the positive side of it, isn't it?
Yeah, Dope Star Gaming, to be honest, being one of those blood bikers sounds quite enjoyable.
Yes and no. So
I wouldn't do it myself personally. So
there are some, as with anything, there's good sides and bad sides. So my dad would, he covered Brighton right the way through, and he's had to go to London occasionally. But if it was warm enough, he'd take his bike. But on occasion, it would be too cold, and he'd have to take his car. Now, one of these occasions, luckily, it was in his car. Some guy walked out in the front of my dad's car and was like, "Hit me," and was like egging my dad to hit him. So my dad just started reversing down the road.
Jesus Christ.
So and then my dad would get in at like 2-3 in the morning, and you'd be on call. So there are good sides and bad sides. But as soon as they started saying, "Oh, you might start delivering drugs," I told my dad he has to stop, because you become a target at that point.
You do become a target. That's actually a serious thing. There are gangs that will target these vehicles that transport drugs.
Yeah, but I don't think they do the prescriptions, and he doesn't do it up here anyway because the setup's too weird.
But the thing to remember is it is voluntary. You're not getting paid for it. You are spending your own fuel money And especially nowadays with fuel prices being as high as they are, you know, you're investing an awful lot of money to travel a long way to deliver, vital supplies, but it is your time and it is your money that you're having to invest to do it. That's the biggest caveat to it. I mean, if it was sponsored by the NHS or maybe even charities or something like that, where they would sponsor you with the fuel, or they pay for your insurance or your tax or something to make it worthwhile for you, and all you had to invest was your time, then I think it would make it a more worthwhile thing to do.
And I mean, if you take away the fact that it's a lot of volunteering time, there's a lot of on shift with it. You have to be, the one my dad was in originally, you had to be there for 18 months in order to be able to take their bikes out, and you have to do like some advanced driving thing or something to get the car, didn't you? And if you took all that out and you're just delivering the blood, then and it's warm enough each time, then I imagine it is quite freeing.
Well, but the county that they're living in now, they don't have their own bikes. They didn't have their own blood bikes, did they?
Though they did.
Oh, right.
So the where they are now, and I'm not going to give away where my parents live, but where they are now, Dad could have had one of their bikes straight away. I don't think it's because of experience. I think it's just the way it's run. But the way it was ran, it wasn't really my dad's thing, and he'd have to redo his car bit, and we've put dope style gaming on.
we have, yeah.
We're just being honest that it's not all it's cracked up to be.
But this is intel from someone who's been there and done it.
For about 3 years, I think he did it for.
Yeah, he did it for about 3 years.
And to be fair, like we've alluded, he is in his 60s. So do you know his dream is though? You know when you go to like Jaguar and if you have a Jag and you have it serviced, they can come and pick it up, and they do that side of it, and that's what my dad wants to be. He wants to be the little driver who comes and picks the Jaguars up and takes and gives it a clean, and after MOT drives it home again. That's what he wants to do. Fair play to him.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Sorry, dope style gaming. We just want to be realistic with you there.
It's a nice thing to do, but it would be nice if the NHS had a little bit more funding to support you. You know, you're already investing your time doing it. So it would be nice if they rewarded you in some way.
And if you do have to use your own bike, it's the wear and tear on your bike.
Exactly.
And you have no... Which is why my dad had a second bike, because he could just literally use it for that and it wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
But like my dad has always said, hindsight's a glorious thing. And I think if he'd known about the real caveats to it, would he have done it still?
Who knows?
That's the thing, but
maybe he would, maybe he wouldn't. But
he used to get in at my mum would stay up waiting for him, and he used to get in at like 2:30.
Yeah.
And she'd have a little cup of tea with him. It was really cute.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all game. Fair enough. I literally knew nothing of it. There would definitely be more to it than it seems, just like everything.
Yeah.
Again, it will be potentially different where you live. They may not. You may, if you're say in London area, for argument's sake, you may just have a few London hospitals. You may just be going between one or two of them. I think what my dad did like was that my sister-in-law is an A&E nurse, so if he'd go to that hospital to drop off, he'd see her as well, which was a nice little touch.
Yeah.
But
Mark, good to see you, mate. Good to see you in the chat. He says, evening, folks. Sorry, I have to take the wife on a date night, so missing the live stream. No worries, mate. No worries, mate. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, enjoy that.
We'll be here next week.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. So, I mean, I think that's everything from us. I mean, that's basically just us detailing a few of our experiences in the past, and of course, the wifey's mum and dad in the past as well. So, between the lot of us, we've had quite a lot of experiences with this kind of thing. So, yeah, it's a dangerous game, riding motorcycles. Well, it's only dangerous because you're around other people most of the time. So that's the unfortunate truth. But there you go. But I mean, I've got nothing more left to say, guys and gals. So yeah, it's been great seeing you lot in the chat. As always, with your fantastic contributions, and yeah, thank you for letting us know that the ad break works. So we might incorporate a bit more of those into the live streams.
And we've got some reaction videos from that 125 guy to check out as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, 125 guy will definitely be checking out your stuff. Absolutely. So yeah, so from next week we are going to have a few changes, which hopefully will be exciting. It'll give you guys more content from us, and hopefully more diverse content.
And maybe because we would have obviously had the new releases out, you can let us know on Thursday what you think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, on next Thursday's live show, let us know how you feel about the new release.
Yep.
On Wednesdays and
yeah, I mean, be honest, because if you guys are like, it is ridiculous, it's rubbish, we won't do it. We want to make sure you guys are getting something out of it, and you're enjoying it, and
we
don't want you to start the video and be like, no, and stop again.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Let us know.
Hopefully it will be a slightly different style of video, a bit more comedic, a bit more it's like what we were saying earlier, a bit more laid back. So
I have a lot of fun filming those.
Yeah, they are enjoyable
really
for us
fun.
as well. So hopefully you guys enjoy them. But yeah, thank you so much for watching today's show. Dope Style Gaming, Mad Dog 125 Guy, Mark. Thank you ever so much for tuning in to today's show. You guys are absolutely wicked.
Fidelity.
So and Fidelity, of course. Yeah, sorry, missed you out there. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, absolutely fantastic, absolutely brilliant. So thank you so much for joining us today. And yeah, so new release tomorrow, and yeah, it's going to include some of this 360 footage with this new camera that we've got. So let us know how you feel about that as well. And yeah, if we don't see you tomorrow, have a good weekend, and the wife and I will catch you all next week.
Ride safe.
Ride safe, and yeah, have a good weekend, guys and gals.
He liked what you're doing to his ear.
Yeah.
He was in a proper trance.
I was giving it a bit of a massage.
He was in a trance.
Yeah. Little trance.